Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the regular meeting of the Oklahoma City Economic Development Trust scheduled for Tuesday, January 28th at 2 p.m. And I want to welcome you all here. And the first item on our agenda is to approve the minutes of our last meeting. And these minutes have been distributed to the trustees prior to this meeting. Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes?
I'll move approval.
A motion made and seconded to approve the minutes. Please cast your votes, and the minutes are approved. Okay, the next item, item 3 on our agenda, is to ratify the claims that ODOT's paid, and they're on item 3. They're listed here. There's a fairly extensive list, and the majority of these were TIF expenditures. There are a few gold bond expenditures. Kathy, you want to say anything about those expenses?
Sure. We have some incentive payments to Boeing for their job creation grants that they received in the past, year 1 and year 2 payments. And it looks like we have a claim for audit services that was paid for from Galt, and then some of the regular payments that the trust makes to the Economic Development Foundation for services provided by the foundation and the Alliance.
Are there any questions or comments?
Kathy, just a matter of timing with the 3 incentive payments for Boeing all grouped in year 1 and year 2 at the same time? Is that normal?
It's not normal for all of our other companies, but that was the way they submitted their information to us. So sometimes that happens.
That's a good question, but we pay on demand. Yeah. Everybody demands it at one time. We have a piggy bank out there.
We do have to remind people from time to time, but yeah.
Kathy, just for information, would you comment on the ASA $368,000?
I may have to get Brent to comment on that.
Yes, sir. As part of the initial funding plan for the improvements that are going on out right now at the All Sports out at the ASA Hall of Fame Stadium, there was a timing differential, and there was a back in, I believe it was either in December or November, this body approved a joint resolution with the City Council to allocate the GOLT funds up to $8 million to provide advance funding for that, because there's private donations coming in, and the GOLT funds were advanced for that. We initially provided about 5.6, and they needed some additional money and that amount rounded it up to a straight $6 million has been allocated of GOLT funds to that project. I'll tell you, to date, in the private funds that are being raised, we anticipate $3.5 million being received by the end of this calendar year. To date, we received $1.5 million, and we anticipate bringing that money back to the trust and replenish those funds. So that's all part of the Softball Hall of Fame development.
But the reason we're doing this is to secure something, correct?
Yes, sir. It's part of the plan to secure.
Give me a softball. Once you hit it out of the
you didn't give me a softball. I didn't take it. Sorry. Yes, it is all. It's all part of extending. Today, the City Council and the Oklahoma City Public Property Authority, as you are well aware, approved the outline or the framework of an agreement with the NCAA to take their arrangement here to 2030.
2035.
2035. So.
Any other questions, Larry? Anyone want to straighten out this witness?
I'll offer a motion to approve the claims. Yeah. He doesn't need any rebuttal.
We have a motion to approve the claims.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say, please cast your votes, and the item is approved. Next item on our agenda is item 4, items for individual consideration. And the first item, item A, is an agreement, joint resolution approving the allocation of general obligation limited tax bond proceeds and/or improvement or investment proceeds in the amount of $2 million for the Terex Corporation Economic Development Agreement. Kathy, would you like to say something about that?
Sure. This is a project that the trust had a presentation on in the past, but Terex Corporation is planning to add about 1,500 new jobs to Oklahoma City. These are manufacturing jobs that will pay an average wage of a little bit over $41,000 a year. Pretty excited about this project. They'll be bringing a new manufacturing line to the facility here, and hopefully that'll attract other businesses and other manufacturers into the area. So the first item is approving the allocation of $2 million of gold bonds for the 1,500 jobs, and then the second item is the agreement between the trust and Terex.
Thank you. Are there any questions about this particular project? It was a very exciting project from the standpoint of the number of jobs it created, and the basic kind of jobs, manufacturing a product that we can deliver elsewhere. So it was, I think, a good project. We had to probably vote on these separately. So we'll vote on item A first. Is there a resolution to approve item A?
I'll offer a motion to approve A.
Second.
Motion made and second. Is there any other discussion? Please cast your votes. And the item is approved. Item B we've talked about already. It's a follow-up item.
I'll offer the motion to approve.
A motion to approve. A motion made and second to approve. Is there any further discussion on item B? Please cast your votes. And the item is approved. Item C involves Oklahoma County. Kathy, you want to say something about that one?
Oklahoma County has an agreement with the trust to provide TIF funding for improvements to the annex building in the Oklahoma County office building complex. They requested to receive $2 million in advance in order to award the contract for the construction. Like the city, they have to have all of the funds on hand in order to award a contract. So we agreed that that was an understandable business practice and one that we're familiar with, and went ahead and authorized the advancement of those funds so that they could begin the project.
Are there any other questions or any questions on the item?
I saw the $2 million claim on today's agenda.
Right.
Well,
Yeah, I meant to mention that.
I'll move approval of the item.
A motion made and second to approve item C, giving the Oklahoma County a little money early so they can get their elevators fixed. Anyway, are there any further comments or questions on item C? If not, please cast your votes. Item C is approved. Thank you. Item D is the assignment of contract for engineering services from Cobb Engineering Company to CEC Corporation. And this is something the City Council has done several times already. The company's the same, they just changed their name, so in order to keep up with them, we have to have a resolution that recognizes that. Are there any other comments or questions on item D, pardon me? Hearing none, we have a motion.
To approve.
A motion to approve?
Second.
A motion made and second to approve. Thank you very much. Please cast your votes. And the item is approved. Thank you. Item E, this is a bigger project, and it's a very interesting project, I think. Kathy, you want to say something about this one?
A few months ago, the TIF Review Committee approved an allocation of tax increment financing funds to make improvements, infrastructure improvements in the Bricktown area, and the City Council approved that allocation. So this contract is for the engineering services that are needed so that we can implement the infrastructure improvements. And it's things like sidewalks and street lights and stairways to the canal and electrical issues and other things that just after, the canal's been open about 10 years, no, 15 years now. And after 15 years, you get some wear and tear, especially in a place that's been used so much. So we think this is a good project and will help Bricktown a lot.
Are there any comments or questions, rather?
You just blinked.
Well, I think that the canal project is really interesting. I know the city was prepared to subsidize those canal boats initially, and they never had to. They made money from the day they opened up. It was, I think, a very interesting comment on the value of that project. So.
I'd like to move approval of the 15-year facelift.
15-year. So we have a motion made and approved to approve facelifts? No, that's not right. Item E on the agenda. Are there any further questions or comments? Hearing none, please cast your votes. And the item is approved. Item F is an interesting project as well. This is in the Cottage District, which is an area just north of the downtown
All right, this is the area, another TIF project similar to the one for the Bricktown infrastructure, where we identified an area kind of south of St. Anthony's, north of downtown, that's called the Cottage District. There's a lot of single-family homes under construction on vacant lots in the area. Some people are redoing other properties that are still existing in the area. But the allocation was approved to reconstruct the alleys in the area. So this, again, this is the construction, the preliminary report for the construction of those alleyway improvements funded from tax increment financing. And there's criteria that the property owners in the area have to meet before we will agree to improve the alley. They have to meet a certain threshold of investment and have the agreement of everybody along the alley in order for us to go forward with it.
Are there any comments or questions? I have a question then. There was a list of utilities that are involved in these alleys. Will the TIF money pay for the relocation of those facilities?
No.
We're going to ask the utilities to step up to this.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, mine comes
One
out
way or
of OG's
another.
retirement fund, I'm sure.
I'll move approval of the item.
And motion made and seconded. Are there further questions or comments? Please cast your votes. The item is approved. Item G is a change order. Is improvements to the south bank of the Oklahoma River at the Meridian Landing Promenade. I think, Kathy, you want to say anything about that one particularly?
No, just that this is a reminder that this is a project funded by the Dell, or the Riverfront TIF District, the one that we created in order to attract Dell computers to Oklahoma City. And we're making some improvements along the river, and this is just a change order that changes, it looks like it changes some quantities for certain items.
Any questions or comments on item G? Please cast your votes.
I need a motion.
Oh, we need a motion, I'm sorry.
So moved.
I just thought that my loyal Indian companions never knew that. Thank you. We have a motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Cast your votes, and the item is approved. Thank you. Item H is a change order number 2 to the same project. And if anybody thinks the Oklahoma River cruise boats business is not good, this year we hope to have the 100,000th customer on that sometime during the year. So they have been fairly successful, and despite a lot of naysayers early on, it's turned out good. Item H, is there any further discussion or questions on item H? Chair would entertain a motion to approve item H. Have a motion made and second to approve item H. Is there further discussion? Please cast your votes, and item H is approved. We now have a presentation from the Myriad Gardens Foundation. The second quarter report.
All right, well, thank you. Good afternoon. Well, I'm here to just give an update on different activities at the Myriad Gardens. I'm here to thank you for your support of the gardens, and I hope from showing you some of our up-to-date financials and programs that your investment in the gardens via our management fee, we hope you think that's paying off. And I think it's also to show the public-private partnership that the city, the foundation, and this committee helped put together. I hope this shows you that that is going as it was intended to do and be. Well, the Myriad Gardens, we take a lot of pride in what we do. We're excited about it because it's a wonderful place for the city's development, and it raises the quality of life in the city, and we want to make it a place of just enjoyment for everyone who visits it. And these 5 points are what we keep in mind every day in our work and our planning. Our number one job, as we see it, is keep it green and beautiful, maintained and safe, keep it educational with a core mission of, because it's a botanical garden, keep it active, keep building community, and just always think about ways to make it better for everyone who visits and for the city and its development. This is a progression of our 3 budget years since the foundation has taken on management. So this is to show you that we have been able to find significant cost savings through this partnership. primarily through staffing costs. As the foundation now has an all-foundation staff, we've been able to save well over $300,000 in terms of that structure. There are other savings, too, primarily security costs. We've been able to bring those way down, and that helps us as a whole, as an organization, in what this was envisioned to be, that we could save some money in different ways as a nonprofit. This also shows our contribution, that we are working towards the goal of contributing 2/3 of the overall expenses, and the city always supplying at least about 1/3 of that. And as you can see, the first year, 2011-12, our budgeted goal was 24%, and we met that. The second year, 2012-13, it was 32%. We met that. We actually did a little better than that. And in this current fiscal year, our goal is to contribute 44% of the $3.676 million budget. And I'm confident we're going to make that too. So that is done through a variety of ways, primarily on our foundation part. To get to our 44% this year, we earn that money through earned revenues and fundraising. So our earned revenue growth, you can see here for the past 3 fiscal years. Crystal Bridge admissions in 2011-12, it was $314,000. And I'm sorry, I should have had a comparison for the year before. It was closed actually almost a year before that with all the renovations, but I believe the previous year before the grand reopening, I believe it was about $250,000. I'd have to check on that. But there was a significant leap when the Myriad Gardens reopened officially in 2011. Last year, the admissions, $320,000. It's a modest increase, but as I told the City Council this morning, that in some ways I'm actually pleased with that, because usually when there is a new opening or a new museum or a new attraction, you get a huge spike in attendance because it's new and different and there's more people, and then it plunges back to a more normal level. There were no major updates to the Crystal Bridge itself in this past renovation. So I think the fact that that has not gone down to the pre-redesign levels is a very good sign. And we hope to be making improvements to that in the coming years so we can see a more dramatic increase to that. But at any rate, that's to explain that I think that is actually doing well. The last column on the right is end of December of this year. So those numbers are just through this past December. We get the majority of our income now in the second part of our budget year. So that's why those numbers are lower. Rental and retail, we've seen a lot of increase in that area, from $130,000 to $215,000, and we should be on track to beat $215,000 this year. Festivals, we've added 2 festivals, and we hope to add 3 or 4 as we grow, so our festival income is growing. Our ice rink commission, we get a standard rate from the rink every year. That will grow as attendance grows. Our attendance has been down a little bit this year because of the weather. We had 4 terrible weekends in December. Otherwise, when it was open, we were doing better year to date. So unfortunately, we just had a bad weather year. So those are some of our key earned revenue areas.
Maureen, what programming is happening in December that leads to the huge admission numbers you have of the Crystal Bridge?
Are you talking about these figures here?
For the month of December, $131,956.
Oh, sorry, that is from July to December.
Oh, okay. I was going,
yeah.
what? You have all in December? Okay.
We have free Sundays in December, and this year we had about 4,900, but otherwise that's a half a year. And we get most of that revenue in the second half, especially...
While we're talking about admissions, do you keep track of where these people are coming from, zip codes or something?
We have to do a better job of that. We try to get zip codes from a lot of people, and I would say it's probably 65-70% within the greater Oklahoma City region, the rest being outside of that region or out of state, approximately. This
In that
shows...
regard, if I could just ask, I was going to ask this morning, but it might have been accused of politicizing it. If the amount of visitors coming in from out of town were to increase due to building a new convention center, would you anticipate that your revenue for the Crystal Bridge would also go up as a result of capturing some of that increased people coming into town?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the fact that it's right on our doorstep, clearly convention people will find their way over. From some of the designs I've seen, and I think it's important to keep that adjacency in mind, that there could be a really nice way to link that, so people really are almost led to it. I think a lot of conventions, wherever they're held, are looking for places to hold cocktail receptions or breakout rooms, and I would have no doubt we would benefit from that.
Just wanted to build on that thought 1 second anecdotally. I had the occasion to be in the garden on Sunday. It was beautiful. I saw a lot of families pouring over from apparently activities that they were enjoying at the Cox Convention Center, like cheerleading, maybe even wrestling. And I wondered what kind of maybe cross appeal that the foundation could do, knowing what events are on the horizon, to make sure that maybe a flyer or someone is educating people to what's available right next door. It's really neat to see people. I don't know if they were filling time or just enjoying the afternoon, but the park was full.
It was, both days. I mean, it had been so cold, and we had a beautiful weekend, so people were out. But I think that's a good point. The more we know what's coming to town in terms of conventions or things, we might be able to plan an activity that might tie in, as well as something we may. What we want to do, too, is provide more and more programming. So it may not be every day, but most of the time there's something going on that would interest different groups. Our fundraising growth is critical for us to meet that 2/3 contribution level we're trying to get at, and I think we're showing good progress. Our board dues, we have an executive board and a community board who are extremely generous in their board dues. And so, again, the 2,000, we get all of those dues pretty much in the first quarter of this year, so those will all be coming in. But you see the level of support is just a little under 200,000 from those two groups alone. We have added a large benefit event in June, which is why it went up significantly from 63,000 to 360,000. That's our Orchids in October event. We added a June gala, which was very successful, a members event in December. So we're adding those benefit events to earn more contributed income. Membership sales, I'm really thrilled with this because this shows that you don't have to be a big donor to support the gardens, and we value every membership dollar at a $55 level, or a family is $65. And you can see when I started there were about 250 members here in the fall of 2011. Thanks to our membership staff, we've hired someone who does our membership program and events for members, and so we grew to 989 members. Our income grew. And today we have almost 1,500 members. And our income to date, actually as of the 24th, is $52,700. Our goal this year is $70,000 in membership, so I think we'll exceed that. But I think that's a good barometer that the community is supporting us through their memberships. Grants, we had a great grant year last year. This year we have 22,000 to date. We have about 200,000 pending in grants that we've submitted. We are writing grants all the time, so I can't imagine we wouldn't make our goal this year as well. Corporate sponsorships, the corporations are really supporting different events and things that we do. That has increased, you can see. The first year, 256,000. It's a little skewed because Devin generously supported the opening festival in 2011. That's why that's so high. But we've gone from 35,000 to 54,000, and today, January 24th, it's 73,000. And we're just halfway in our budget year. So you can see that's growing. We do appeal letters, in-kind contributions. All of those things help support our fundraising efforts. The endowment, we also were able to increase that. We need to increase that much more, but it's grown from 125,000 today. It's at about 340,000, and we have plans to start a campaign in the next year to really increase our endowment and do some other improvements. Well, I'll just run you through a year that we had at the gardens last year, just to show you some of the events and things, ways that the garden is really growing in terms of what's happening there. This was a chef's relief back in May after the tornadoes. And this is also to say that a lot of groups use the gardens for their benefit events. We tried not to say no as much as we can. So sometimes there's sliding scales, but we have dozens and dozens of community groups who use our gardens for events, for raising awareness, raising funds, and we're delighted to do that. We're doing more and more festivals and family events. We have a popular egg hunt. We had to limit attendance. It got pretty hectic. We are asking for corporations to underwrite a number of these things that help defray costs. This is our egg hunt here with hundreds of families. And they love playing in the playground. Very popular. We're having more and more volunteers come and help us and take part in activities here. We have family festivals which help us raise memberships in our children's garden. And this is kind of a silly but really fun event, Oklahoma, we did last spring. And it just brought in thousands of people, hundreds of new members. And it's a great way to bring families down and just have a very fun, creative time. We had the new event, as I mentioned, in June as a major benefit event, and it was really terrific. We kept prices at different levels so we could have young professionals attend and support it. Very creative in how we executed it, I think, through the gardens from our restaurant, and then we had a fabulous dinner on the Great Lawn, and we'll repeat that. We are making it an annual event to raise funds for the garden. A lot of in-kind donations from chefs, and it was just a great way to celebrate the gardens, the downtown renaissance, and the excitement of being downtown. We're trying to add some kind of interesting fun events to activate the gardens even in the evening. This was a full moon bike program that we started this summer, and we had 40 the first ride. I think there were 75 the second, and then we had 250 people. So it was a really popular event, fun way to activate the downtown in the evening. We do lots of concerts that are underwritten. We had some concerts to raise money for the tornadoes. Allied Arts uses our grounds. The Oklahoma City Arts Council uses the Great Lawn. We have Shakespeare going on. Our movie nights have been really, really packed with people, very popular. We try to do more and more fitness and wellness programs. It's a yoga class. We are adding art to the gardens. We had a major gift to commission a sculpture, which is on the right. That's a small scale model, but we think these prairie dogs will be a wonderful feature to the children's garden and make it kind of an icon for the city. Reading programs for children in the garden, we've really worked a lot on that. Making the garden very creative for kids and families, interest them in reading. We had a storyteller chair made by a local artist in the children's garden. There's Meg testing it out. There was one part of the garden that was underused, and we also have constant requests for weddings, outdoor weddings, and other events. We didn't have quite the right space for that. So through a private gift, we decided to build this new terrace garden. And the Herman and LaDonna Minders funded it. We opened it late October of last year. We've already had 2 weddings there, and we're booking a lot more for this year. And it's a beautiful space for not only a wedding, it gives us rental income, another source of revenue, but we can do lots of other types of programs there as well. Free programs, school programs, smaller musical events. It gives us a great venue for a lot of different things. I want to bring up that the gardens, I mean, we definitely have our challenges and issues. There's a lot of places that need some fixing, repairing, replacing. This was a shot of the Minders Garden last summer. It did not look good. It's certainly not the standard that we are that we want to have, but that the reason why it did is we wanted to wait and plant it in the fall, not plant in the summer when it's very stressful. The water can be an issue sometimes. So it did not look good. It's to say that we don't think this is acceptable. It was a timing issue. But I think if you see it now, here's the after shot, that I think we did well to wait, so we had the right conditions, and the plants will thrive now. A lot of areas of the Minders Garden plants either didn't do well, they died for a number of reasons, so we undertook replanting that area. So these are shots of everything planted now, so that garden should look just beautiful this year. going forward. We're adding plant labels so people can learn about what plants do well in Oklahoma City. This is a before shot of the garden, Minder's Garden, after we seeded that in cooler weather. Our children's lawn was not doing well. We've had some irrigation problems. But again, we fixed that. We put a new lawn in, and now it's the way it should be. We have a number of other areas that we know we have to repair or fix, and we're working with Public Works on that. We have some paver issues. We have some dead trees we need to replace. We have more plants to fill in. There are some parts of the grounds where they've been planted, in particular this on the lower left, a Nandina bed, which is a good choice, but I think we can do better in terms of beauty and interest and educational opportunities. So we have issues that we're working on, and I hope this year we will fully get those repaired or completed. We had a lot of damage from the May storm. That is our water stage completely underwater. On the left, our Thunder Fountain, our very popular feature, had some really bad water damage to it, which took us a number of months to repair. Kids used our plaza in the meantime, and we did open that towards the end of the summer, and there's a lot of fixes in it that should prevent that from happening again, so kids can enjoy that all summer. We opened the ice house. We opened the park house. Pumpkinville, our popular fall event, brought in thousands of people. We had over 300 new members join. We bring in local artists. We try to make it very creative and fun. Our ice rink, our ice cube. We enhanced our holiday decorations this year, inside and out. We had corporate sponsors who helped pay for some of these improvements, and we'll add to that every year more and more features. We had winter shops out on the grounds, which we hope to enliven and improve next year, working with Prodigal. And we try to do lots of community events here. This is an example of a recent one of Martin Luther King Day. We had volunteers in, we had performances. We are planning an orchid show in February to bring more people into the Crystal Bridge in the wintertime. This is gardening school where we're talking about rethinking a kitchen garden. Use your front lawn, your backyard, your side yards. Chickens. We didn't realize this was such an issue when we planned this, but it's very timely, obviously. So you can learn about how to keep chickens and what are the latest Oklahoma City policies in keeping them. So we're doing that in March. We're having a family festival in May based on the Secret Garden book, bringing that to life. And I'll just end with the master plan that was just introduced a week or two ago, talked about programs that are not, or needs that are not being met through the park system. And so from what those are listed here, fitness, wellness, festivals, senior programs, biking, family programs, we are going to be keeping that in mind, and when we add new programs, try to fill those needs. But we're doing a lot of those now, and we want to do a lot more. So, can I answer any questions?
Other questions? It's a great park. You've done a beautiful job there.
Well, thank you.
I've seen people on Sunday afternoons in there, and it just almost couldn't get in the park. It was so crowded.
Well, great.
Having a great time, too. Good. Next item is a report from the Oklahoma City Economic Development Foundation covering the fiscal year second quarter.
Well, good afternoon. Thanks for the opportunity to be with you. I'm Kurt Foreman, as you know, from the chamber staff that manages the foundation and the contract with you all. And Brent should have passed along an electronic version of our quarterly report. We're saving a little paper, and you should have gotten our latest beauty piece, we call it, our piece on Oklahoma City and how well it shows off to people. I just had the opportunity this past week. It doesn't fit into the quarter, but I thought it was a good feedback. We just hosted a group from the UK of energy executives from 8 different companies in the UK who were coming to learn about shale gas and the things that our state and our area had learned from having been in that business for a while. And we spent almost all our time in the city and showed them all around. We went to the History Center, and we took them to a Thunder game. I think they were being polite. Oh, we're going to a basketball game. Oh, okay. It was the most exciting basketball game. It was the Portland Trailblazers last week. It was probably the most exciting basketball game I've ever been to. And they all left with Thunder fans. So we've got 9 new fans in the UK for the Thunder. But it was nice to see people's eyes open up and experience our city when they had not been here before. So our work to share that story over and over again is an important one. In the report, you have some of the sort of tactical highlights of what our staff's been doing. There's a whole bunch of different things, including the sort of end-of-the-year snapshot. We had 8 recruitment projects during the past calendar year, of which some of them happened during the last couple of quarters. You can see those listed on there on page 1 of the narrative. But I wanted to share a little bit about the retail section, which is on page 3. And you'll see that we've been continuing our strong partnership with the Alliance and others on proactive strategies for retail for the area, particularly grocery. And we had a very successful event in December at Metro Tech over in Northeast Oklahoma City, working with the Black Chamber and a few other partners of the ULI chapter, and bringing some experts in who have been able to create opportunities in underserved markets in what would be often called food deserts. And that's created a lot of momentum, and there's a lot of good activity going on there. And I'd like to recognize Jessica Herrera, who's with me today, who is that person who helped put that together with Kathy and her team and others. So there's very good activity around retail, and you can see some of that listed. We're gearing up for the spring to go back to ICSC, which is our shopping center show we go to every year with the mayor and others from the city. But if you go to page 1 of the performance measurement charts, the one that has the sort of blue tables in there, I wanted to highlight a few items there. We track both existing business outreach as well as recruitment and those sorts of things, and you can see where we are in terms of that. We're well on the way to meeting our goal of engaging existing companies. We've already, those companies have already told us that they plan to create nearly 1,000 jobs, of which 615 came from engagement during the past quarter. Generally, the quarter was very good in terms of wages. The year to date was a little bit lower, but there's a little bit of ebb and flow to that. The other one that I'm excited about is the attraction, and the companies we've worked with have already proposed 1,800 jobs, which is already in excess of our goal for the year. So we won't stop, but we are having a very good year. Leads have dropped off a little bit. The second quarter of the fiscal year was a little quiet, but we're already seeing an uptick again after the holidays, and we think that will right itself very easily. And you can look at on page 2 of that, the website traffic has been up significantly. So we think that that's a good sign for the inquiries that will be coming during this quarter. And under the retail section, you can see that we've had a real strong group of visits, engagement with brokers and retailers and developers, and we're well on our way of helping existing employers. She doesn't know I'm going to do this, but I wanted to recognize Jessica again. Jessica let us know on Friday that she's going to be leaving us to go back to El Paso, her home city, and take on a new role with the city of El Paso. So she will not be with us at the next time we visit, but I wanted to recognize her for her very good work. And we're already underway this coming week to look for the next person to take on that role and to work with you all and continue to move our retail agenda forward. So we appreciate Jessica's work here in Oklahoma City and wish her well. And I'd be happy to answer any questions if there are any. We think things are going along really well right now, and hopefully you can see from the marketing pieces we're not hiding ourselves under a bushel. We're telling the story as often as possible.
Good report, Kirk. Are there questions, comments?
Terrific.
On
Thank
the
you
jobs
all.
that you created, Kirk, on the jobs that were created by existing employers,
Yes, sir.
were their salaries good?
And again, we don't control what the numbers are. They tell us what they're going to recruit at. For the quarter, they were well above our target. For the 6-month period, we're slightly below our average, but we expect that's going to go up and down, and each project takes it up or down a little bit. But generally, we're either at or above the average wage for the area, which is
paying
good.
jobs.
Absolutely.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
We have the general manager's reports. Are there questions or comments on the general manager's reports? Hearing none, we'll move on to the next one, which is comments from the staff, from the trustees, from the citizens. Jessica, thank you very much. We appreciate all you've done for Oklahoma City. We're envious of El Paso getting you back, though. On that cheerful note, we are adjourned. Thank you.